All right, I think we are amassing a decent amount of people, so we could probably go ahead and get started to be on time. And first of all, thank you everybody for joining, whether it's your morning, evening, or hopefully not your middle of the night. But if it is, then I appreciate you joining even more. I see some familiar faces in the attendee list, so if you're joining us back again, an extra thank you and thank you for being so involved in the community. Um, First, I want to take a second to introduce myself because I haven't met a lot of the people on this call before. My name is Sandy Besson. I am new to the BeeAI team. I joined about a month ago, and I will be our ecosystem lead as well as a research engineer working on building out a lot of examples for the community, recipes, and doing a lot of developer advocacy work. So if you have any questions, please feel to reach out to me, whether it's on our Discord, LinkedIn, or any way you feel comfortable. So we have three main updates that we want to give on today's call. First, I'd like to address our positioning with some other protocols out there like A2A. And then I'd like to hand it off to Matosh to give an update on ACP, and then Tomas and Jenna to talk about some new features in the framework. So that's our three agenda items for today. And then I'd like to open it up to conversation for the community. But if you have any questions while we're chatting through things, please raise your hand and as long as it's relevant for that conversation at the time, happy to answer that question. If not, we're happy to answer that question after we've gotten through some of the updates that we'd like to share with the community. So I'll kick it off with talking about a little bit about our positioning with other protocols like A2A. So the last community call just before I joined was about 6 weeks ago, and A2A wasn't even really on the roadmap yet. So we wanted to be very transparent about the rapidly changing ecosystem. And we think that's a good thing because the more developer tools there are out there, the more opportunity there is for you guys to build some really cool stuff. But we want to make note that we really value two things greatly in this project: transparency, which is why we're talking about this right now, and open governance. And although that we have a shared goal with A2A to enable agent-to-agent communication, especially with MCP, and we're in touch with them and we're talking to their teams, especially the A2A team, we're committed to an open governance standard. So until A2A is openly governed, we won't join forces with them yet. So we're going to continue to build out ACP. We're also putting a lot of emphasis on the demonstrating how we can actually show value to our business counterparts. So we're doing that through the BeeAI platform, which we'll talk a little bit about later. And it's really important because although we might understand the value of ACP on this call, which is why we're on the call, our business counterparts or the people that we're sharing our agents with might not. So we're really focusing a lot of effort on having people see your work in action through the BeeAI platform. So that's my quick update. And with that, I will hand it off to Matosh to speak a little bit about the updates on ACP.
Awesome, thank you. And I have a couple of slides. Hopefully it's visible. If not, let me know and I will try to zoom in because I have more text on the other slides. And I'm gonna do some high level in the like changes that we did in ACP, and then Thomas, other Thomas, we actually gonna have two Thomases today, is gonna go a little bit deeper in the technical details. So first, in ACP, we have some major updates. We deprecated the pre-alpha, right? So we are now on V010. There is open API spec. We showed some of it on the last call. There haven't been really any major updates to it. Just FYI, pre-alpha is gone, and we are now REST. So we also abandoned MCP and JSON RPC, and I will get into the details why in the next slide. But we are now ACP, so we don't have any dependency on any other protocol, and we are REST-based. And also with what Sandy was mentioning about A2A, ACP is very similar to A2A actually, so that's a good sign that we are trying to solve the same problem, and we are merging towards a similar solution. The only difference is that A2A is still based on JSON RPC. We are on the rest, based on the REST, but we see signals in the A2A that REST might be also one of the transport they're going to support, or architecture starts, not really transport, because transport is still HTTP. So that's two major updates. Then another one is we have a Python SDK. So we are on the version 0.91 as of today, I believe. It's available in the PyPy, so you can install it. And Thomas is going to show you some examples that actually showcase the SDK. And we have a new documentation site. I don't know if you have seen it. I'm just going to open it very quickly. It's here. We have an introduction section, explanation of some of the core concepts, some of the how-tos. We have the REST API, so there is the OpenAPI spec. We have an API reference for the Python SDK. We have some integrations with the, I will talk about the MCP adapter briefly and cursor later, and then we have some other things here. So just FYI, new doc site. And the content is pretty much still work in progress. So if you see problems, given this is community driven, definitely let us know. Open a PR, contribute back. We will be more than happy to improve the documentation. As always, that's important for to showcase or tell other people what ACP is and what it solves.
Matosh, can you zoom in a little on the text? We have a request for that.
Yeah, okay, I will do that.
Thanks.
Okay, hopefully it's better. Okay, so the first question people might be asking, why REST and why we are not continuing with MCP. And so first, MCP is great, and there's no question there. MCP does the job it's supposed to do very well, which is actually bringing the context to models, right, and the tool calling. But it wasn't really designed, and to be fair, Anthropic never claimed this is MCP solves the agent-to-agent communication, right? And we also realized that. And one of the things that the biggest struggle, I think, is that ease of use or ease of integration with MCP, because the transport mechanism is not that simple when it comes to kind of hosted, agents that run somewhere in the cloud, let's say, because it's a JSON RPC. There is, for the SSE or for the streaming, there's two channels open. It's not really designed for long-running async jobs, like when agentic where we have agent doing something for a long time. Tool callings are usually fast, and there is no opinion on the message structure in MCP, right? Whatever goes on the wire, it's pretty much there's no guidelines on how the structure or how the message is supposed to look like. Which really makes it hard to integrate various agents that need to kind of speak similar language. There is only like partial kind of support for streaming. I mean, streaming of the partial results, right? Because MCP, given that tools are not agents, there is no kind of tokens being generated on the way. So there is some support now, but it's not robust enough, and it's not really designed in the way that it's clear how it's supposed to be used. For example, at this moment, there is no concept of shared memory or state. Like if you have two agents, how can they share state, right? And there's also not really support for long-running async requests. I kind of said that before already, but yeah, these are kind of the reasons why we left JSON RPC and MCP. But we know that a lot of people are using MCP today. So we actually built a ACP MCP adapter. So it's available here. You can go in the GitHub. There is a docs there is a how to like step by step how to use the adapter. It's super simple. And yeah, I'm not gonna go into details on this call probably.
But if you build anything with it, let us know. We'd love to feature it.
Definitely, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna probably have to zoom out a little bit. Apologies. Hopefully it's still visible. If not, we will provide a PDF of the slides later, and I will hand it over to Thomas, who's gonna talk about the core concepts.
Okay, thanks. So let me just quickly go through several core concepts so that you know what ACP is really about. So ACP is about agents communicating messages to each other. where agent can be anything really, human, LLM, or some entity from an agentic framework. We facilitate this communication by introducing classic client-server architecture, and we also have a concept of a run, which is just an agent in execution. So here on the screen, you can see a short snippet from the usage of the SDK. That's actually the full end-to-end usage. First part is how to create an agent on the server side. The second part is how to use it through the client. So there's, as you can see, you have some server where you register an agent and you describe its run, and that's pretty much it. On the client, you just synchronously, there are several interfaces to run the agent. This is the simplest one. You just run the agent and wait for it to complete, and there you go. With just this, the ACP protocol gives you several other advantages. First is discovery. So we actually we built in discoverability into the protocol itself. There is a description of each agent we call agent detail, and it is a static description of the agent. It contains things like name, description. It's actually taken right from the code above. The name is EchoBot, and the description is that it echoes everything. The detail is meant to be static. It is served over the ACP protocol as well, but it can also be built into Docker images and stuff like that. Actually, the BeeAI platform does exactly that. It creates an image for each agent, and it bakes the agent detail into the image itself. So the image registry actually acts as agent registry, which is quite nice. Then after you discover your agents, you can execute them, create a run. So each run takes a sequence of messages as an input and returns a sequence of messages as an output. But during that, it streams events, which is a huge advantage over MCP. Runs are asynchronous in nature, so they go through a state machine of sorts, and we view them really as a coroutine, so they can pause and be resumed, which we will see later in advanced sections. So Mateusz, could you go to another slide? So the last part of the core concept is the message format, which we are quite opinionated about. This is important to enable proper streaming and resolve all those technicalities. So we view each message as a sequence of parts, and each part has a content type and content. The content can either be sent over the wire directly in the message, or you can just share a content URL, and then the other side is responsible for using that URL to get the actual content. When you encode the content into the message, it can be either plain text or base64. The good thing about that this message part is that each message part can be streamed independently. So as your UI is showing the text, it is receiving message parts and it is rendering the text fluently. So if you are generating quite a lot of text, you should be generating a lot of message parts to make it smooth, really. So can we go to another slide? So going to more advanced concepts, we have concept of awaiting, which is sort of interrupt. The agent can decide to pause and ask during a run and ask for additional data. This is useful, for example, for additional configuration. So an agent can ask for an API key or something else, and the client must react to that to resume the run. This I'm thinking whether I should compare it to A2A or MCP, but let's skip that. The concepts there are quite different than this, so let's not go into details there. So can we go to next slide, please? And finally, we have a concept of sessions. Several runs can be involved inside a session, which allows them to actually carry over the data between the runs. So in this example, I'm creating a session on the client. I'm telling the agent in the first run that my name is Tom, and then I'm invoking another run, possibly with another agent. It doesn't have to be the same agent, and the other agent should get the information about my name. It should know the previous message. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Matush.
Yeah. And there is a lot of technical details, and we don't have enough time, I think, to cover. But if you have any questions related to any of those, you can raise them here, or we can also raise them in Discord later on. We can take them offline. Okay, so I have a couple of more slides, not many, I promise. So one of the ones I wanted to mention is, pick some community discussions are happening and just share it with you so everyone is aware. And, if you feel like you have an opinion on some of these things or you want to contribute to the discussions, definitely feel free. There is one that's touching on the high-level availability deployment support for agents. Pretty much the question here is, how do I deploy the agent on multiple replicas, and how do I put a load balancer in front of it? Does ACP support that? And so that resulted in the issue that's created, and we are currently working on this. But definitely, if you have some opinions on this, let us know. Look at it, and we can discuss. If any other further requirements needs to be fulfilled, because we started with a very simple case first, but obviously high availability is a complex topic itself. Another one is about how to configure agents. Obviously, when you run agents, there might be configurations like what tools the agent can use, what model or inference provider it's supposed to use, and other things. Right. So there was a discussion about how can we do it. Is the configuration part of the message parts? Is the configuration a part of the separate argument in the construct of the agent, or sorry, of the run of the agent, or something else? Which we formed some opinion on it, but definitely if this is something that, again, is of interest to you, let us know. Look at the discussion, contribute. And then lastly, we have the discussion on agent monetization, which is kind of ongoing discussion, I believe, at this moment. So yeah, this is what's happening in our discussions. Then we had some nice contributions from people. So I just picked a couple of them. So we have now the OpenAI Story Writer, which is an example of the agent, ACP agent, that actually uses or ACP compatible agent that uses OpenAI Agents SDK. Then we have an ACP agent generator. That's an agent that actually is capable of generating other ACP agents. It's using the MCP, it's using the LMS text there, and LangChain. And then we have a Slack agent using MCP, which pretty much is an agent that can connect to Slack and post messages or read channel messages. So that's actually using MCP and BeeAI Framework. And I listed some of the contributors over there. So big thanks to all of you guys and also the core team members. It's really great, having this community around and helping each other to solve the problems we all see need to be tackled. On the last slide, I believe this is the last one, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Yeah. On the last slide, I just wanted to kind of mention a bit of the roadmap. And this, the roadmap is kind of changing, right? So I tried to take a step at it. So pretty much on what are we working on right now, what's happening next, and where is kind of help wanted from the community. And we are there's not many things in the help wanted at this moment, because you guys helped a lot with the issues. So I think we closed in the last month probably 8 of the help wanted issues, and they weren't easy. So right now we have only 2 open, but we are constantly thinking what where is the help wanted. So we will be opening more. So right now we are trying to solve the high availability support. I mentioned that already. We are looking at introducing the authentication authorization schemes to the Open API schema. We are working on the RAG agent example, and especially we are interested in how do we tackle all the metadata that comes with RAG, like the scores, the chunks, how the ACP is going to form opinion on this. And that's actually part of the agent. This kind of overlaps with the agenting components. That again, we want to form opinion on how we format the data for the message for trajectory, for log sources, the retrieval context. Apologies. The other one, what we are looking on is like adding a role to messages, because right now our messages don't have roles. We didn't include the roles intentionally from the beginning because we didn't know whether it's really needed and what the roles should be actually. So this is kind of happening now. We are having some discussions in the issue. So if anyone is interested in this one, definitely join the issue. And we are working on the TypeScript SDK. For now, just the client side. So that means you can use TypeScript to call other agents. We have it in the code review at this moment. So if anyone wants to give it a try, wants to test it, it's there. It's you will find it in the pull requests. So that's what's happening now. Next, we are looking at the dedicated config field in the run, which is again, sorry, every time I click it goes to the next slide, which is actually related to what I was saying previously. How do we configure the agent? After that, we will be looking at the different strategies, authentication strategies. We will start with the API key strategy, and we are just thinking of looking at how we can support these in the SDK. And how don't we don't want to reinvent the wheel, obviously, right? All these things have been solved, but can we introduce some support for it? Can we form opinion on what's the right middleware that we would like to use in this in the SDK? So we would like to start with API key because that's the simplest probably authentication strategy, but obviously we will follow up with OAuth and other like MTLS. Then we will be looking in TypeScript SDK on the server part. So you will be able to actually write, ACP servers in TypeScript. And then we are looking into best practice for security implementations, like, to give people guides on how to secure the agents. We don't have an issue for it because this still needs to we need to form an opinion. Maybe if someone has opinion on this or is an expert, open a discussion. That's usually a good place where we can start having these, what's needed, and then we can form an issue and open issue and implement the thing. The other thing what we are also looking into is the user identity delegation. Okay, so that's it. For the help wanted, there is some work on the OpenTelemetry, especially how do you integrate OpenTelemetry with ACP, and how, there is multiple ways how to do it. So we would like to be much better in, providing the guides to users, and we are OpenTelemetry, compatible. So it's really about providing guidance and improve a little bit of the docs we have today, especially the Python SDK reference that is really running and outside of our minified docs at this moment. So just make it easier for users to find everything in one place. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks, everyone. And back to you, Sandy.
Thanks. I want to give everyone an opportunity who might have a question regarding ACP to raise their hand and ask it now before we move on to the framework side with Jenna and Tomas. Okay, if no one has a question, then I have a question, unless I'm not seeing any hands. No, apparently no one has a question. Okay, I have a question. We're seeing a little bit of discussion happening in the community around ACP being local first. Matosh, can you talk a little bit about that? How that might have been perceived, and then whether that's true or not. I know that that's not true, but can you explain a little bit more about how that's not true?
I mean, ACP as it stands as a protocol, it doesn't really matter whether it's local or not, from my point of view. So I don't know if that question, like, if it's really related to ACP or it's more related to the platform.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it connects the two, but I think maybe those on this call have a little bit better of an understanding whether that it's a protocol, so it doesn't matter as much. But I think for those that are getting asked that in the community, to explain it to others, how would they explain it?
Yeah, I mean, there is still the SDK, right? That actually allows you to build these ACP servers, and out of the box, that's you start local first, right? Building these servers. So there is I would say, a support for, definitely that's, it has been designed to be used locally first, for sure, the SDK.
Cool. Thank you. All right, if there's no questions on ACP or if they come up later, feel free to post them in the Discord or open up a GitHub discussion. All right, I'll pass it off to Jenna and Tomas to talk a little bit about updates in the framework. Or not, I'm not seeing Jenna here right now. Okay, I'll open up to, does anyone else from our team have something they want to bring up while I see where Jenna is?
It seems that Jenna is not here, so I can bring up some new things that are in the framework. So we were talking about ACP, about the platform. So now in the framework, you can see and you can find the ACP agent server and ACP agent client. So you can consume ACP compatible agents in the BeeAI framework, and you can also expose them. So you can take your existing agent implementation that you did in the framework and in the single line of code, expose it as a ACP compatible agent. So this is update to the BeeAI framework, and we are planning to release a new agent that is gonna leverage some new concept that we are about to call it a requirement. So you can nudge the agent to do something based on your requirements in a very declarative way. But this is something that will come later on. So this was a quick update about the BeeAI framework.
Cool. Awesome. So I'll open it up for any discussions, or to Matosh, if we want to talk about any of the things that you had on your roadmap on that slide. Oh, hey, Jenna.
Hi, sorry about that.
It's all right. Tomas just gave a quick update, but if there's anything that you wanted to provide on the framework side about any of the new features that had been added.
Yeah, I can just give a quick update on, so the protocol integrations, I think, is the big recent thing that we put out in the framework. So with that, I know we've been talking about ACP and MCP on this call and everything. So our goal with the framework is to make it really easy for you to build these multi-agent systems and also be able to leverage agents from any framework. And with that, when you're building agents in the framework, we want to make it easy for you to not have to kind of write your own server code to make your agents ACP compatible. So recently with this new release, we're making it so that you just put one line of code in order to make your agents ACP compatible. And we're also enabling you to do that one line of code to make your agents auto register within the BeeAI platform. And so you can kind of immediately have a nice UI for your agents when you run them and be able to kind of test them out. So I did put out a video kind of showing what that looks like. And then the last integration that we worked on was around, as you guys know, with the framework, when you're building agents, we allow you to give your agent MCP tools so that your agent has access to MCP resources. But we also recently enabled it so that you can wrap your agents as MCP servers themselves and expose them in that way. So just the goal of all of these new introductions and these protocol integrations is to really just make for a very interoperable system. So when you're building agents, you can leverage all of these cool features in a really easy way. But yeah, I would say that was the major release that we had shared last Thursday.
Awesome. Thanks. Any questions for Jenna or Tomas? Any ideas of things that people want to build using some of these new features?
So
I
as
think-
far as, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jen.
I'll let you go, Matosh, because I didn't have a strong answer for this one.
No, I was about to kind of jump to platform, so I don't know. I didn't want to change the topic too much.
Yeah, no, this is all about integrating with the platform. So the answer is really around what we can do with the platform anyways.
Yeah, I was just, Tomas Weiss, apologies, another Tomas on the team. We have too many of those. Tomas is probably can give you like a short update on what happened on the platform side, and especially in terms of the ACP and as well as the framework.
Yeah, thanks, Mateusz, for giving a word. So hi, I'm another Tomasz, as usual, on the team. And I have a very short update for you guys about what we are working on in platform. So right now there are three main things we're focusing on. Most of them are almost done, but yeah, it's either done or you can expect it very soon to be done. So obviously, as Mateusz was discussing everything related to ACP, so we had to convert our platform to be compatible with this version of the ACP. So we're supporting the new ACP, which is very important because all the new cool features that are coming that are on the roadmap of the ACP will be able to leverage from that. One of them is, the agentic components proposal. This is very cool, and we're looking forward to it from the platform perspective because it allows us to build really cool composable GUIs based on the definition of the agent. So basically, the agent says, "Hey, I'm able to do this, like provide trajectory, provide two calls, whatever," and we'll be able to visualize it nicely in the UIs. So that's why we're already porting over to ACP. It's actually done already, but we're still waiting for the new functionality in the ACP. The other thing that we're mostly focusing on right now, or part of it has already been done, and that's actually the Helm chart for deployments. So we have a Helm chart where there's a whole definition of the platform server plus unmanaged agents. So basically, like the agent can be either managed by the platform or unmanaged, which means that the Helm chart will cover the responsibility for spawning the agents, and then there will be plug-in into the whole cluster. So if you need to get the platform up and running in a cluster, it's not possible. It's still a bit in progress though, because the ultimate goal is just to make sure that we can run in the Kubernetes managed providers, which means automatic spawning and despawning of the agents through the Kubernetes through the platform. So it's going to be running in the cluster, but platform will allow you to dynamically spawn the agents as user requests those. So that's the second part. And the third one is the cool new self-registration. I really like this. I think that this is going to improve the agent development quite drastically when it comes to the integration with the platform. So the self-registration, the way it works is it's a magic. You literally just write your agent as a function, which you just basically need to wrap it in a decorator in the Python, like the agent decorator, and as long as the platform server is running on your local machine, it will just automatically register to the platform. It's just like tries to resolve the name of the agent by the name of the function. So if you call it like main agent, it's gonna be called main agent. And it will show up in the platform. So all you need to do, like, have the platform installed and running locally. and then just like use the SDK, the ACP SDK to wrap it as the SDK agent, as the ACP agent, sorry, and start it. And it will just show up in the UI. You can just, do the try experience and it will work out of the box. So it's really cool. You should try it out. I guess that's it for me.
I think definitely on the next community call, we can show a demo of this because, as you said, some of these things are still work in progress, so we weren't ready for it today. But the next one could be cool, and we can focus more on the platform and show what magics you can do with it.
And we have a question. Yay. So we will. Eden, can he unmute? Can they unmute themselves or okay? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Great.
What improvements or benefits does ACP provide compared to A2A?
I can try to answer this first, but I think more people gonna have opinions on this. I think both of the A2A and ACP converge towards the same thing. Message parts be having some types like MIME types being the things that being transferred on the wire, supporting asynchronous requests, and having SDK. The only difference still is that JSON RPC versus REST. That's the one I would still say that for ACP, being REST means you don't really need SDK. You don't need. You can really call the agents through curl, Postman, browser, whatever. You don't need a special runtime where this SDK runs to talk to these agents. But we know A2A knows about this shortcoming, and it might be possible that they will be introducing REST as well soon. So again, we are converging to the same thing, and there is not really any significant differences, I would say. But yeah, and the big advantage is still open governance and of the ACP at this moment.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention as well, is that it's more of the philosophy and strategy in terms of having it openly governed rather than open source, but governed by either just Google or Google and the group of companies that they've amassed around it.
Why should I use ACP while I have A2A?
I mean, you can go with A2A, definitely, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have SDK until recently. I think they just did a PyPy package like a couple of days ago, if not today. I don't know. I'm not following that closely. But so they didn't have until a couple of days ago. You could only do the samples or examples, right? But yeah, they have SDK now. You might probably expect some changes. Maybe they will be introducing some breaking changes because it seems like there's a couple of issues with ease of use, that everything is async pretty much in their case, meaning that you really need to expect as a client calling the A2A servers to get async response, meaning you need to be a little bit more complex in terms of like you might need to do polling to get the final response. Not a big deal, but that's one of the things. I know that in the SDK they have this improvement of if you do the task, you can get either the task back, and that expects that it might be asynchronous, or you might get a message back, and you can call it with the parameter blocking, meaning you are requesting a synchronous kind of we are doing a synchronous request, and you are expecting the response right away. So this is happening. So they, at this moment, so they're kind of extending A2A and introducing this, ease of use or ease of integrations. But in ACP, I think the design is a bit better because we have the mode of interactions, and you can say I want sync mode, async mode, or streaming mode, and we don't overload kind of if you send a request, we don't do the overload, and then you can get two different types of responses based on one of the parameters. So it's kind of there is some things. And I think one of the big things would be the REST. Still, they need to, they probably need to come with the solution for REST. They will probably likely go with a solution for gRPC. And the question now is JSON RPC, once they come with REST, is JSON RPC even relevant? what benefits it gives you, because I don't think there is much benefits. That's my opinion. Obviously, we can have a discussion about why JSON RPC versus REST. But REST, given that it's a standard for web pretty much, and it has a lot of the things figured out already, like authentication, for example, you don't need to reinvent the wheel with it. And yeah, I would leave it with that. This could be a longer discussion, I think. Hopefully, I answered somehow.
We have another interesting question in the chat around, do you think that ACP is enough? Essentially, can you use ACP to call tools as well? Or should you use ACP in conjunction with MCP for those scenarios?
Definitely a combination of ACP and MCP. We don't claim the ACP solves the bringing the context to the model, right? So for various reasons, I think we strongly believe, the team here, the core team, that MCP is good for it, what it was designed, and ACP is just additional protocol for that's really focused on the agent to agent and not on the bringing the context.
Right. Any ETA on the Helm chart support?
I would let maybe Tomáš answer that, because
Yeah, I think that the key thing in this is with docs, because it's there already. So, but it's not yet properly documented. So it's in the repo, in other words, but we haven't got to the point where we would properly document it, so that anyone can just pick it up. But I think that there is just a very short README. And I personally managed to just follow the README without asking any of the devs to get it up and running. So it should be good for now, but we're definitely planning to improve the documentation on that end very soon.
Yes, just to reiterate, documentation updates are definitely top priority for the platform coming next. So definitely by our next community call, and a lot sooner, we'll have some updated documentation on all of the functionality that the platform offers.
And then I'll just answer a question here about where BeeAI and ACP are gathering requirements, as that might be an advantage in terms of adoption over A2A. Well, the biggest place that we're doing that is through the community, right? So whether that's through the GitHub discussions, key contributors, or any market analysis that we're doing, that our team is doing as well. So I agree with you completely, and that's why we want to remain, and we will remain in open governance, is because we want to build a developer tool that is useful for developers, and you guys should be the ones that are driving the requirements, not a company. Awesome. So unless another question comes in while I'm speaking and wrapping up, I think we'll wrap up this community call for the month of May. It's sad I had to look at the calendar to see what month it was for a second, but it's great that we're wrapping up the community call for the month of May. Thank you for everyone who joined and participated in this call. And if you have any more questions or want to become more involved in the community, please take a look at our GitHub discussions. See, that would be the main point where your points of view and opinions could really contribute to the roadmap. Like Matush said, we're flagging some help wanted response issues. So if you see any of those that you're interested in, or if you have any questions or want to bring one up on your own, please do. And any more questions, or if you want to share anything that you've done, you can either use the GitHub or the Discord. Cool. All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.